All right, let's go to this Pickens topic real quick, and then I'll come back, read the comments, and we'll get out of here. So, obviously, there have been some trade rumors. There's been trade speculation regarding George Pickens ever since the season ended, given some of his antics throughout the course of 2024, and not only just 2024, but throughout his career. Like, the production has been there to a degree, not all the way where we want it. And I mean, combine that with some of the drops that we've witnessed this year too. It definitely hasn't been all the way there in terms of production and just expectations for Pickens from an on the field standpoint. But then when you combine that with off the field stuff, social media drama, not handling the media well, and then the fact too, sometimes doesn't give his best effort out there when plays aren't being called his way or passes aren't being thrown to him. The routes are sketchy, not blocking all the way. Has shown some immaturity, to say the least. So now we're going into year 4. We're in between year 3, year 4. It's that off season where you're eligible for a contract extension. So it is fair to talk about. It is fair to bring up, like, should the Steelers move off of Pickens right now? Like, this would be the time to do it. If you don't think he's a part of your long-term plans, why not get some value back as opposed to just moving off him after year 4 and get nothing in return? Because Pickens is still a really damn good receiver. It's almost like whenever we had these talks with Deontay Johnson, whenever he was up for his contract extension, like, Deontay's a good receiver. It's just like, how much do we want to pay him? You know, we've dealt with some drops with him. He had some, like, not necessarily drama to the degree of Pickens, but I remember early on there'd be some cryptic messages he'd be throwing out there on social media. He'd be showing some immaturity at times. I don't think to the degree of Pickens, but to the degree where you're questioning whether or not Deontay Johnson should be a second contract receiver for your squad. So Pickens, there's been talks. There's definitely been talks amongst the fan base, amongst the media, whether or not the Steelers should rock with them for year 4, or should we try to trade Pickens for a second-round pick, maybe a first-round pick? And not only is it something that the fan base is talking about, local media, but I mean, even some national media, even just some NFL outlets that are on Instagram, on social media, and the 33rd team is one of them. So for one of their posts, they had some trade ideas, and Pickens was a part of that. It says trade ideas for potential 2025 contenders. Their trade pitch was Steelers trade George Pickens to the Washington Commanders, who could use another receiver across from Terry McLaurin for a second-round pick. George Pickens on his Instagram caught wind of this post and made his own comment, gave his own reaction. It says, via me, just let you know that this comment is coming from him on his account. Via me, these pages are not in the building or any facility. Just stop lying for clicks and views, my brother. Okay. These pages are not in the building or any facility. Just stop lying for clicks and views. Okay. A few things to unpack here. The whole just stop lying for clicks and views, that really doesn't hold weight on this, because it's just a football account. It's just an NFL account that's coming up with content like trade ideas. There's no lies being said here. They're just saying these could be some trade packages for some 2025 contenders. That's all. Steelers could trade George Pickens for a second-round pick. There's no lying that this deal is happening. There's no official report that says the Steelers or Commanders are in talks about trading Pickens for a draft pick. There's none of that. So there's really no lying here. And like for doing it for the clicks and views, that's how, companies or accounts like this are trying to stay in business. Like you're trying to get reaction, you're trying to make content that's engaging. So I don't really I'm not really thinking too much into the last sentence that Pickens commented here. But I will say this, the fact that he commented and says, via me, these pages are not in the building or any facility, goes to show that like he cares about, I think, being a Steeler. I think it goes to show that he cares what his teammates think. Like he doesn't want people out there, he doesn't want accounts out there that are posting about him, thinking that he's this malcontent or that the Steelers are trying to get rid of him or that his teammates don't like him. He wants it known that, listen, I want to be here, and just because you guys think that from the outside doesn't necessarily mean the organization or my teammates or the people that matter to me think this stuff about me. So, you know what? I kind of like that. I kind of like that he said that. I kind of like that he put the energy into making this comment. Let it be known that I don't want to be traded. I'm not looking to be traded at all. It's you accounts. It's the media. It's the fans that are making up some of this stuff. I'm not trying to get traded, and you guys are thinking that I want to get traded or that there's potential for me to get traded based off of things that you really don't know because you're not in the facility, you're not in this locker room, you don't know exactly how it is or this dynamic is between me, my teammates, and the organization. Listen, fair. We can only go off what we're seeing, and like it hasn't been the best over these 3 years in terms of the teammate behavior that you're displaying, how you are with the media, how you are being a professional. So like I think we like fans and the people that are talking about potentially trading Pickens are fair to be bringing this up. But I do like that Pickens reacted to this and addressed this in a decent way. I think in a way that shows that he cares and shows that he wants to be back. Now, actions speak louder than words, though. You could want to be back, but it's like, bro, are you going to still do the same stuff that you've been doing these 3 years in terms of like running wrong routes or lazy routes, not blocking for your teammates, having Tomlin come up to the podium and make excuses for you? You can't talk to the media. You can't handle yourself in a professional manner. You're dropping balls. The focus ain't there anymore. The effort isn't 100%. Like if you're doing all that, it doesn't matter if you want to be here or not. Like, yeah, there's a legit chance. There's a really good chance that the Steelers are going to be moving off of you because you can't have that in the locker room. You can't have that be setting the tone and sending the wrong message to the rest of the guys in house. Just can't do it. That's the question for Pickens. Like, do you want to be a Steeler receiver? Seems like he does. Do you want to be a second contract guy here in Pittsburgh? Seems like he does. Are you willing to do what it takes to live up to both of those things? Are you willing to be a leader? Are you willing to start being more of a professional? Are you willing to pick up that mantle and showcase what it means to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, and specifically a Pittsburgh Steeler receiver? Willing to do those things. Up to this point, I have my doubts, but hey, we'll see going into year 4. A contract year, when you have something to play for, back up against the wall, I think that can help with some motivation. That can help change behavior, right? What do you guys think on Pickens? Any other finishing thoughts on Russ versus Fields as well? Feel free to throw some of those comments in the chat here. I'll read some, then we'll get up out of here. I'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll probably talk Broderick Jones moving to left, probably, unless we get some other headlines, other topics that are more pressing. But that's the plan. We'll talk some Broderick Jones. And I saw one of you guys bring up one of the Rooneys talk about Tomlin, and that they admitted basically that it isn't all Tomlin's fault. It's also like a behind the scenes thing. It's an organizational failure. So maybe I'll address that. I think that could be a good topic for tomorrow's show. Okay. D-Max says, unless it's a 1, you don't trade Pickens. Team leader step up, but Broderick does in games, reel him in. Yeah, I'm with you on that too. Like, you don't want to just trade Pickens. I don't think that offer from the Commanders. I'm not head over heels in trying to trade Pickens for a second rounder. I think he's a first round talent. I think he's worth a first rounder coming back. I wouldn't be opposed to, like, here's the one I thought of earlier today: Pickens for a Garrett Wilson, 1-to-1 swap. Maybe we got to throw in a late pick, sweeten up the pot for the Jets. I think that could be a good trade. But maybe that doesn't even matter anymore, because part of the reason I was thinking you'd bring in a Garrett Wilson is because of the Fields connection. But now we're seeing that Russ, there's a chance that he'll be back. So if he's back, maybe it's better that we just keep Pickens around. I think Pickens is a receiver that's set up pretty well for Russell Wilson's style. I think he meshes pretty well with the Russ moon ball and throwing some of those verticals and those 50-50 balls. It's got to make, the trade's got to make sense for Pickens, unless new reports come out or we get new information that the Steelers are completely past Pickens. They think he's too far gone, and it's just not going to be a fit going forward in terms of the locker room and Pickens with being a fit here with the Steelers. Almost like how we moved off of Claypool, almost like how we moved off of Deontay. If they just think that he can't be that leader, if he's not going to be able to step up, if he's not going to be able to handle himself properly going forward, then and he's going to just be more negative to this team than a positive in terms of just like vibes and morale and being a teammate, then you just got to move on. You got to move on, point blank period. Of course, you try to get the best compensation, but that does more damage to you than good just by keeping them around and having teammates, just be around toxic behavior, just be around like a toxic locker. It could kill the vibes for your team. It could kill what you're trying to accomplish as a unit. We moved off of AB for like a third round pick. You don't mean to tell me that was proper compensation for the Steelers right there. AB for a third round pick. No, it was just we needed to move off of AB. Like it wasn't going to work anymore. It wasn't going to work. He wasn't going to be conducive to the team environment, and you just can't have that. You can't. Almost like Stephon Diggs with the Bills. The relationship between him, Josh Allen, too far gone. It would be more trouble than what he is good. The antics, the negativity would be outweighing the production. It's just time. It's just time. So if we get reports on that, and that's like why the Steelers would be moving off of Pickens, then you do what you got to do. And it's unfortunate, but having the morale high, having everyone all in, having everyone be more team oriented than me oriented is more important than talent sometimes. Manny Meeks, Deke, I know you mentioned it before on previous streams. What do you think about trading for Waddle? That would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting. I still want to know what we're doing with Pickens. Like, are we for sure going to have Pickens back? Waddle could be a good number 2, though. Definitely could be a good number 2. Good compliment with that speed. Because he could play outside, even though he's a smaller guy. With that speed, like him and Tariq, they play good on the outside. Waddle, multiple 1,000-yard receiver. I could see it working. But all right, I think that's it, man. I'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Everyone stop through. We'll talk more. We'll chop it up. Broderick Jones has moved to left tackle, and we'll probably talk Rooney. We'll talk Rooney and his comments on Tomlin and how he feels about how the blame should be weighted and shifted in all of this. So stay chilling, everyone. Thanks for stopping through. See you guys tomorrow. Here we go, Steelers. Peace.